Hello everyone, it's a beautiful spring day, just afternoon on the 28th of April 2024. Looking forward to getting a few more things done with my project here. Yesterday I tried to drive this car to UPS to return my steering gear, my old one, to get my core refund back. And on the way there I noticed I was starting to hear noise from the power steering pump, like there's air in the system. I made sure it was full before I left, but I ignored it. Had the windshield wipers on too because it was raining lately. And as I travel down the road, there's this white smoke coming out the back on the left side. And I'm thinking, oh, you got to be kidding me. And the people behind me are hanging way back. It's like, well, that was pretty embarrassing. So the windshield wipers eventually stopped working because all the fluid went out of the system. So I had to come back home before I made it to my destination. I was able to turn it, as long as I'm moving. But it turns out that I didn't tighten the return line on the steering gear tight enough. So it was spewing out there. So rather embarrassing. I'm always afraid that I'm going to over tighten something, so it ends up I didn't tighten it enough. So should be a very easy fix. Just got to go in there and tighten that up with a tubing wrench some more. So that was kind of embarrassing. So I still have the steering gear in here. They're closed today on Sunday. Had a couple people asking me about vacuum routing under the hood and even inside the car. So what I'm going to do, separate from this video, I'm going to make just a short video that just explains where I routed all my vacuum lines under the hood, all of them. I'm not going to leave any out. And I'll caveat that there are a couple of differences between cars with automatic temperature control, this one, and others that don't have that. But that will be in that other video. Very pleased that every time I turn the car off, even after I waited a couple of hours, the trunk still opens with the vacuum release. So that means I'm good, no more vacuum leaks. I did discover by reading my shop manual that it is possible to put the hoses on the reservoir on the wrong side. I still can't figure out what difference it would make, but it says very explicitly in the shop manual, do not get them backwards. Okay. I don't know why it says that, but it does. So I'm going to double check, trace the routing to make sure I've got the heating ventilation system on the left side toward the engine. That's is that right? Toward the engine? Yeah, left side toward the engines on this side of the car. So yeah, that's supposed to be the one I'm hooked into for my heater controls and all that. So I'm going to double check that. A little more testing when I got home the other day too after I'd driven it because I couldn't get the heat to come on. And it wouldn't open the blend door. That's why it wasn't sending heat in the car. And I noticed too that the system was coming on when it shouldn't have because the car hadn't warmed up yet. So that tells me there's a possible sensor issue. There's two sensors. There's an ambient sensor under the hood and there's an internal in-car sensor. They both work together to control, send signals to the ATC box so it knows how to adjust, the temperatures and whatnot. So there might be something wrong there. I'm not sure yet. I did notice that when I put it on de-ice, the blend door does open and it sends max heat to the windshield. So I was eventually able to get heat in the car, but to the defrost. So I know I'm okay there as far as the routing under the hood and all that. So that was good. So I'll continue to troubleshoot that. Probably work on that a little bit today. I will be receiving my bypass hose for the blower motor tomorrow. So as soon as I get the chance, I'll put that on. And then after that, I'll put my third attempt here at the windshield washer bag. This one is from Classique Cars Unlimited. Not classic, but Classique. They spell it differently. You've probably dealt with them before, some of you. The only difference I really saw is that the script on this one is a little bit faded. The one from Old Car Clearance was very bright, gold colored. It was kind of pretty, but that's okay. This one I filled up with water, warm water from my kitchen sink, and I let it sit. It didn't leak, so I'm pretty confident that this is going to be okay. So I'm looking forward to putting that on after I get that other bypass hose I need. Today I'm also going to adjust the steering wheel so it's straight across and the car is going straight down the road, and I'm going to bleed the brakes. So just a bunch of small stuff today, but looking forward to continuing on. Let's see, now I lost my on-off switch. Here it is. Doesn't want to stop. Great. Stop it manually. All right, here's where I'm at. I tightened the return line down there on the steering gear. That's the smaller one, closer to the front of the car. That's where the leak was yesterday. I also checked the tightness of the other one. There was a little bit of movement in that return line. So hopefully the tightness I gave it is enough to seal it. It better be, or I'm gonna have to go buy some specialized tools to tighten that some more, like a crow's feet or something. I also found that I had a small water leak. It was actually at that elbow fitting on top of the intake manifold, that hose clamp. So I tightened that. In fact, I retightened all the hose clamps on all the new heater hose that I installed about several days ago when I was putting the heater core in and all that. I do need to go buy some antifreeze. It's not real low, but it does need to be topped off. I've topped off the power steering, but I haven't started it yet, so I'm about to start it, and I'm sure I'll need to add some more. And as long as the leak checks check out, no more leaks, I'll take it for a drive, attempt to get that steering wheel straightened out again. I've made an adjustment, now I just need to drive it to see if I got it or not. I also took the time to trace these lines to make sure that I had the right ones plugged into the right spot on the reservoir under here. The shop manual was very clear that you should not reverse these. It says do not reverse those connections. I can't imagine why, but so I traced it, and it turned out I guessed correctly. I had a 50-50 chance of getting it right, and I guessed correctly. The one that controls the heating and AC system is the one that's plugged into the reservoir closest to the engine. So that's inboard, so that worked out. Didn't have to change anything there. So I put my roll covers back on. Not that it's necessary, but hey, gotta have a little pride, right? Trying to think. I thought there was something else I did, but I guess not. So I am going to start the engine, check for leaks, and as long as I don't find any, I'm going to take it for a drive. Doesn't that engine sound beautiful? So smooth, quiet. I love it. No signs of leaks. Back and forth here to circulate the fluid some. Alright, now I'm going to check the levels, just make sure it's low. Alright, it turns out that it's actually the supply line that's leaking, the high pressure line coming from the, oh wait a minute. I don't even know which of these is high pressure. Let's just say it's the larger fitting that's down there, the one that's harder to get to, the one that I really couldn't tighten much. That one is the one that's still leaking. I thought it was the front one, but I can see it right now. So in order to reach it, I'm going to first have to disconnect the one that's in front, the one that comes from the power steering pump, and then get it out of the way so I can then tighten the one that's behind it. So that's going to take me a little while. I'll get started on that. Alright, I'm taking us for a little ride here. I'm going to go to Advanced Auto Parts. I bought some antifreeze online. Always get a discount doing it that way. I've pretty much done what I wanted to do with the car. That fitting is tight now, or tight enough on the steering gear. It's not leaking anymore. I drove it earlier. It did fine. Added a quarter of transmission fluid to the transmission. It was low. No surprise there. It's leaking a fair amount. So I'm just keeping an eye on it. It shifts great, so I'm not too worried about it. And I love how tight the steering is. It's awesome. I got the steering wheel set up correctly too. Got that adjustment done. And I made that other video. I'll post that separately for the vacuum diagramming. So just going to take it for another little test drive here. One thing I didn't do was bleed the brakes. The brakes are working pretty good, so I'm not really too worried about it. All right. See how she does here. The other day when I was driving it, I forgot how much power this thing has, even though it's a Titanic, as far as the weight of it. I dropped on that gas, and man, she jumped. She took off. I was like, oh crap, I forgot she had this kind of power. It's a really nice day, so I'm really enjoying having her out. Got all the windows down, except the one that my phone is attached to right now. She's just running really well. Very pleased. Maybe I didn't quite get that steering wheel perfectly straight across. I thought I had it. keep an eye on that. It's easy enough to change it if I need to change it again. It's pretty close. I need to go one more spline over, not sure yet. Alright, looking good. So, good. I'm just going to get the advance on parts here pretty soon. I was just watching a YouTube video real quick from Bubba Sanders. Those of you that watch a lot of Lincoln videos probably know who he is. I guess he lives down in the Atlanta, Georgia area. He's got the 66 convertible. He says he's getting ready to sell it now. It's a pretty car. All right, I'm back home. Got my antifreeze here, Advanced Auto Parts. I'll top it off later after the engine's cooled down. But fairly modest day. I didn't do a whole lot, but I can drive the car. That's the main thing. So, like I said, tomorrow I should have my bypass hose for the blower motor. So I'll put that on and my new windshield washer bag. And I'll be almost done with everything I wanted to do up to this point at the 1 year anniversary, which is May 8th. So have a good evening.